Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to another lesson by myself, Mr. Imran Iqbal from One-to-One Tutor. Okay, the home of mathematics. Today we'll be looking at chapter 6, percentages. Percentages is a topic that is one of the most confused topics found by students. Today, hopefully we try to take the mist of confusion off your heads, and inshallah, by the grace of Allah, we'll be able to give you and shed a new light on percentages. One of my favorite topics as well. Okay, I'm joined today with my student Amina. She's come to have a one-to-one lesson, and hopefully you can all join us as well. Okay. Right, first of all, let's look into what a percentage actually is. So, let's change color. So, let's say, for example, we start with the statement that. Just checking whether we're on focus on the camera. That's nice and clear. Lovely. Okay. Amina, what we have written there? 20%. Okay, 20% is what we've written over here. Now, let's just start breaking that word down, 20%, and see what it contains. So we said 20%. Now, what does the word per mean in mathematics? Okay. Amina, the word per means, so if you translate the word per means out of, cent, we're talking about something to do with 100. Okay, like you have a century, 100 years for example. What we're doing so far, we are now looking at our statement, looking at this here 20%, breaking it down to a bit of English, then looking at each word, what it means, to see if we can have a deeper meaning of the 20% and we can have understanding that's more clear. Now, out of in mathematics means divide. Copy the 20 down. Copy the 100 down. Okay. So, when we say 20%, when we say verbally, we are talking about 20 divided by 100. The per part of our language, of our word, means divide, and cent represents 100. So whenever we talk about percentage, we are talking about out of 100. 20% means 20 out of 100. 30% means 30 out of 100. 40% means 40 out of 100, and so on and so on. So when we're talking something percent, we mean something out of 100 or something divided by 100. Now, let's write this down in its typical fractional form. So again, let's have a look. Here's the 20 still here. The divide is here, the line is the divider. There's 100. 20%. 20 divided by 100. 20%, 20 divided by 100, that's what we're talking about. So, that's the first part of our introduction. I'm going to try to do some work over here on the side now because I have a limited space on the board. Okay, can you make sure when you copy these notes on your book, you take a nice big half a page or 1 page and make a big deal out of this part when you make your notes, because this is the key part for our understanding and introduction to this topic. Okay, let's do some questions over here. When you copy this work up and you're having the lesson at home using YouTube, please make sure you do this work on a separate part of your page. I'm restricted at the moment due to the way this video is made. So I'm doing mine here, you do yours underneath or on another page in your book. So make your work nicely and well presented. Right, here we go. Let's have a look at this. We've got 20 over 100 now. Say for example you have a question. We have 20% and we have to change that into a fraction. And what kind of fraction? A fraction that's simplified to its lowest terms. Simplified can also be used as, another word could be used for simplified is cancelling. Okay, so 20%, we just worked out here now what 20% means. So I'm going to replace 20% by 20 over 100. Okay, now in order to simplify, we need to divide top and the bottom by the same number. we call this number that we're dividing by its factors. So we have to think what numbers will divide into 20 and also divide into 100. Okay, so now the numbers that divide into 100 are numbers like 1, 2, 1 I call it the useless divider because it doesn't do anything. 2 is okay but small. 5, 10, 15 won't go into 100, 20 will. Now 20 is the biggest number I got on top, so that'll probably be a good place to start in terms of our highest common factor. So I'm now going to divide top and bottom both by 20. Why am I doing to top and bottom? Because when we simplify, we must do the same to the top and same to bottom to keep the fraction in equilibrium, to keep it balanced, to keep it equivalent. So, here you go. So 20 divided by 20 will give us an answer of 1. 100 divided by 20, how many 20s go into 100? 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So 20 will go into 100 5 times. Okay, so now the question was change 20% into a fraction. 20% is written as 20 over 100. And now you have to divide top and bottom by the biggest number that we can get to 20 and 100, which in this case is 20. So 20 divided by 20 is 1. 100 divided by 20 is 5. So now 20% is now being fully represented as a fraction. And that fraction is called 1/5. So when we're talking about 20% off, you go to a sale, you go to JD Sports, you find a nice pair of trainers, it's 20% off. That means they're going to knock 1/5 of the price off. So you'll save on 1/5. So if you want to buy a pair of trainers for £100, you'll save £20. Okay, are we happy with that, Amina? Okay, should we do another one? Let's try another one. Okay, and that's example number unos, or example number wahid. 1. Example number 2. Okay, we fit in one more example over here. Okay, now I'm going to look at something. All the other questions that we'll be doing in this exercise, which we will upload into another video, exercise plus answers. We've got nice straightforward numbers like 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%, 25%. Nice easy numbers. Let's look at something a bit more challenging in terms of a percentage. So, okay, we have 2.5%. Okay, you ready for this? Yeah? If you have 2.5% when changing a fraction, we do it exactly the same way. Students, when they see something slightly different, oh, I'm going to say, well, that's got a fraction in it. What got a fraction in my answer? Oh, I got a negative number. They put the brakes on, they straight away think, oh, I made a mistake. You haven't made a mistake. As long as you follow the method correctly, you haven't made a mistake. 2.5% becomes 2.5 over 100. Okay, so you think to yourself here, we have now got a fraction on top of another number. So we've got a fraction within a fraction. It looks a bit odd. It is a bit odd. So we need to have a technique for dealing with it. Okay, I'm ready. You know how we can deal with that. Okay. We need to eliminate the fraction part of the top number first before we can start doing the cancelling part. So now, okay, pardon me for that. Put the phone down. Okay. Sorry about that. All the joys of making videos at home. Right. 2.5 over 100, let's get back to that. So 2.5 over 100, we are now going to change the 2.5 into a whole number first before we start cancelling. Now how do we change something with a half into a whole number? Because it's got a half, to get rid of the half we must multiply it by 2. So I'm now going to multiply by 2 this number. Now I'm going to multiply this one by 2 first of all. So 2.5 times by 2. By doubling that fractional number, we are now going to get a nice, lovely, juicy 5. Okay, 5 is nice. 5 is much nicer than 2.5. So you have 100 times by 2. So that will give you 200. Okay, I'm going to have to rub off this top part here for the moment because I'm running out of board space and what will be available in the camera to view. Okay, sorry folks about that. So there's the limitations of a bit of our technology we're using at the moment. I'm going to copy this part over here. So now the question is ready to do cancelling. Right, let's have a look at the cancelling part. Now, the factors of 5 are 1 and 5. 5 only has 2 factors. Now you have to think, is the same factors also factors of 200? And the answer is yes. 200 will also divide by 1, but as I said before, dividing by 1 is a bit useless. 1 is the useless divider. It doesn't do anything. So, will 5 divide by 200? Amina? Yes. So 5 is the biggest number that we can divide without leaving a remainder. So let's have a look. You've got 5 divided by 5. How many 5s will go to 5? And the answer there is nice and straightforward. 1. If you have 5 friends, you put them into a group of 5, you make one group. Next, 200 divided by 5. Now, 200 divided by 5, let's make the question a bit easier. Let's make it 20 divided by 5. What's 20 divided by 5? 20 divided by 5 is 4. The 0 that I hid earlier, put it back on. And that's the answer. Okay? So the example I gave you first was like a nice straightforward example. This one's a bit more advanced in terms of changing into percentage, but we've done that as well. Changing percentage into a fraction. Okay folks, that's the end of our introduction to this exercise. You'll find this exercise as exercise number 2 in the following video, and you can follow us on this YouTube learning with our introduction, our examples, and in the next video you'll have the questions plus answers, so you can copy them down at home and do the questions and mark them as well. Thank you very much for joining us today on our YouTube video. Today is the 7th of May 2013. Wassalamu alaikum. Inshallah, see you in the next video.